iDEC researchers have adapted the proficiency attainment model developed by Millard and Scanlon, allowing agencies to draw from an enrollment framework that includes 5 key components. The pre-enrollment inquiry component of the framework represents the information gathering stage for parents and their child. The overarching goal of charter schools during the pre-enrollment inquiry stage should be to answer any and all questions of families of students with disabilities regarding the most appropriate educational setting, in order to support parents in making an informed school choice. In order to prepare for the pre-enrollment inquiry stage, charter schools should identify what information should be made available to families interested in attending the school, while paying particular attention to accessible and informational materials for families with children with diverse learning needs. Following the information gathering stage, the family typically moves on to fill out the registration or application forms, which includes documenting information such as the age of the student and the location of the family. A release form may also be filled out to facilitate the process for obtaining records of the student's previous placement once the enrollment process begins. The registration process should be open to all students regardless of disability status. During the registration process, there are places where the program will want to be mindful about what they ask for. For example, a charter school generally may not ask a prospective student if he or she has a disability at this point in the enrollment process. However, if a child is applying for enrollment outside of their residential district, current Wisconsin open enrollment laws require that parents are asked during this point if their child has a disability. Keep in mind, not all parents disclose that their child has a disability during the registration phase, thus underscoring the importance for the school to obtain educational records from the previous placement in a timely fashion. The enrollment component entails charter school personnel reviewing registration documentation and following up with parents and students. The goal of the enrollment component is to ensure students are afforded equal access to public school opportunities through admission to the charter school, as well as development, review, and/or revision of the IEP. In relation to enrollment, the Zero Reject principle of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 2004 helps to ensure that all students from age 3 through 21 have a right to a FAPE no matter how severe the disability. A student may not be excluded because school staff feel the student is too disabled to learn, even in the midst of school choice options that include charter schools. Charter schools are encouraged to communicate to parents that they should not relinquish their rights to special education, as those supportive services need to be provided by the charter school upon enrollment to ensure a FAPE under IDEA. The orientation component provides a formal welcome and introduction to the charter school. The goal of the orientation component, in accordance with IDEA, is to equip parents and students with appropriate information and training necessary to begin instruction, including facilitating connections with families and providing parents and students with the tools, strategies, training, and equipment that they need to be successful. During the orientation process, particular attention should be paid to providing the special information and training needed to equip families and students with knowledge and skills necessary for a strong start to the school year. In addition, during the orientation, students and parents can identify barriers directly tied to instruction. If any barriers are identified during the orientation process, then the necessary supports should be added to the IEP as a necessary supplementary aid in an addendum with the consent of parents. Once all of the other 4 components are completed, the focus shifts to instruction and monitoring to ensure a suitable IEP is in place that will allow the student to access a FAPE through specially designed instruction. A plan should also be in place to monitor student progress. As the student begins to settle into their school routine and their coursework, IEP team members may be better able to assess how the IEP that was drafted during the enrollment process is actually working for the student. Additional addendums to the IEP should be made if and when necessary.